Hello, everybody, again. So now we are moving to the next session with Jonathan Fischbein. He is the Global Chief Information Security Officer and the DPO of Checkpoint Software Technologies. Jony leads the Checkpoint cybersecurity organization focusing on protecting global assets, employees, and services. He is also a major in offer providing mitigation solution to emergency situation. With that, let's see his presentation. Jonathan, for your presentation, please.
Hi, welcome to the CISO Flix presentation. My name is Jony Fischbein. I'm Checkpoint Global CISO. As we have seen in 2020, Netflix had become extremely popular for many good reasons. In the same, we have done an amazing journey in Checkpoint, moving 100% of the entire workforce from working in the offices and the headquarters to work effectively and securely from home. At the same way, we have seen Netflix evolution, leveraging the cloud and ensuring a secure journey. We have also used similar techniques to make sure that we pass the 2020 pandemic in similar ways. So let's see what and how we did it. When we start, we look on homecoming. Homecoming, first of all, is how to move all this large workforce to work effectively from home. The second topic is about cyber fist, how we can combat the adversaries effectively when we knew that they are going to take advantage of the new situation while people were working from home with the natural guards taken down. The new guard is about VPN and massively allowing remote access now from home. The next topic is the power of scalability, how we allow scalability when about a third of the workforce was doing it remotely through either VPN or other alternative solutions. Now we need all the time to sustain it from home. This was a big challenge. And the last, but not least, it's a huge challenge how to be compliant. Not only by changing policies, but how do we leverage the new situation to make sure that our employees are kept obedient, and at the same time, we are making sure that the whole journey is secure. So before we drill down into it, the same way I have an amazing 3 kids, where they have 3 different profiles according to their age and the things they like to watch on Netflix, the same challenge we have within the organization. We have few groups, and let's discuss the difference between them. While about 2/3 of the company is our sales team, they need to access PII, customer information, from everywhere all the time in a secure manner. We have R&D that in the past, research and development, they used to access corporate resources and especially source code. Now they need to do that from home. Well, in a moment we will go through the entire architecture of the solution we tailor-made for them, but we need to make sure that the entire experience is secure and make sure that the wrong people will not be able to view or access that code. In continuation, we have the Technical Assistance Center, which is a group that they deal with customer environments, access to labs that usually are kept very inside the company in a very secure area. And to conclude, the groups, the finance team. The finance team usually access ERP, payment systems, systems that are usually seen as very sensitive on one hand, and with a lot of, how to say, hurdles to get into it for security purposes, of course. So now we need to allow all of that to be securely from home. A word about the settings of the CISO. So besides tweaking many dozens of security settings in my profile of my team, we also have the challenge at the mid of March 2020 to allow 1,200 BYOD laptops that are completely not managed. These are personal computers. As we all know, allow me to remind us that in February, March 2020, there was a huge shortage of laptops in the industry. So we need to allow everyone in the pandemic to work securely from home. And so we leverage the technology as a solution to allow this BYOD environment. To summarize this topic, we, by the mid of March 2020, we allowed transitioning 100% of the Check Point entire workforce to continue working from home securely. And I'm very, very happy that we didn't have to ask any employee to go into vacation because of the lack of IT security readiness. So this is very good news. A word about how we allow this digital transformation to allow everyone to work securely from home. We divide into a few characteristics. The first one is the policy. We didn't tweak any system, we didn't do any change before we actually adopted the new policy on how to work securely from home. The second one was about identity. Third is compliance. Then how to scale and automate, and how to fight cyber threats through prevention. And the last topic is collaboration, Teams, Slack, Google Meet, Cisco, Zoom, of course, and more other solutions, what we did. So few examples to understand the scope and the effort. So we accomplished in about less than few weeks more than 20 security mitigations to allow this change. Keep in mind that the change came very rapidly end of February through March, and with all thought that it will take few weeks, this pandemic, after 2 to 3 months into June, July, we understood that this is going to continue. So a little bit on the policy, we created a policy that is very easy to understand, and we spend a lot of effort on communication. On the identity, we wanted to know all the time who is coming from where by implemented geo protection, so geo-security. We understood that our developer teams is in Tel Aviv, so there is no reason that someone will be accessing code from Luxembourg, for instance. And then we implemented best practices such as multi-factor authentication, one-time password, single sign, and something that we call identity to my PC, meaning that Jony coming from home can also only access Jony's desktop within the organization, but Jony cannot go to Gil's laptop or desktop within the organization. This was a script, and we implemented some technologies inside. To continue, compliance. We made sure that all the BYOD, especially that are unmanaged, have AV and the latest operating system patches. On all the managed laptops, we have EDR, SAM Last Agent. We implemented IPS protections within our security systems, and we did SOC anomalies. A true story, we saw during April two different users, one lady from finance, one senior person coming from sales, and it was very weird. They have different names. How come they are coming from the same home? So a SOC anomaly triggered an alert. We start investigating, and we actually understood that this is a new couple that got married 3 weeks before the pandemic. Amazing story with a happy end. To continue, we enhanced through load balancing technology the scalability and automation. We ensured that the user journey will be end-to-end encrypted, and we made sure that through a pen testing process, the entire technological change was done successfully. And if not, we fix it on the fly. On the prevention side, we make sure that all the sessions has been recorded, the environment will be highly segmented, and not only that, we made sure that through DLP, another hotkeys mechanism, we made sure that code or the text or the content that we are working on cannot arrive to the client desktop at home. This was achieved through VDI technologies. To conclude on the collaboration side, we did dozens of tweaks. we made sure that in some of the solutions, file sharing will not be available, such as in Zoom. Specifically in Zoom, we made sure early in the game that calls on checkpoint tenant using Zoom will never arrive the China region. So to conclude the topic of remote access and securely working from home, we have tested and implemented various technologies, and at the end of Q3, Checkpoint acquires the Odo startup company, reassuring future integration into other solutions of identity access with threat prevention, service agility, including every available device, mobile, desktop, BYOD, and etc. Being able to security automate and orchestrate upgrade of these systems. And the latest one main topic was about being very user-friendly on the user interface. A word about collaboration. We still have a lot to do on this step, and because of we based many of our daily work through the pandemic on collaboration solutions, it's extremely important to revise the changes that we have done at the end of Q1 last year in 2020, because more than once we have done mistakes, and if we do not revise those mistakes, adversaries will take advantage of that, and we have seen that case through popular or well-known events that took place in Q4 and Q1 2021. A word about supply chain attacks. These are not new, but are very popular. In the last few months, we have seen numerous cases that leverage the CodeCove hack, SolarWinds, Orion, of course. A word about these attacks. They are usually very sophisticated, and they are led by nation states. A word about IoT cameras. We have seen attacks leveraging the use of weak security on IoT cameras coming mainly from China. And the last topic, according to the news, we have seen in 2010 a well-known attack into the Iranian power plant, nuclear power plant, that came through an infected machines that, according to the press, they were coming from Germany before 2010. The outcome, we all know, is the Stuxnet nuclear power facility and centrifuge disruption of operation. A word about how to mitigate or how to protect against these sophisticated attacks. Some are more sophisticated than others. So first of all, we use EDR on all our endpoints and on our servers. We use Harmony endpoint. We use, especially to have visibility on IoT devices and control firmware and what's going on there, we use IoT Protect. In less than 5 minutes, I can understand what IoT devices I am using, where, who is communicated, and if I need to block, it takes me a few seconds to block it. To conclude, the technological side, we are using Infinity Vision XDR into our SOC SIEM platform to have visibility and triangulate information from endpoints, gateways, mobile security software, and everything that has to do with prevention and detection technologies. Before we finished, very important tip, on the supply chain side, it's extremely important to work with procurement teams to make sure that every time we acquired a new system goes through a security vetting process. This is less about technology, more about procurement and trust. On the Active Directory, specifically Microsoft supply chain event of SolarWinds, there is a very good document by CISA. I have placed a QR code here that you can actually read. It's a very well document on how to mitigate these attacks. Before we finish, a word about my 2020 vision. Divided into 3 main areas: cloud security, security operations system, and back to basics. So on the cloud, Checkpoint has a very well presence on AWS, GCP, and Microsoft Azure. And we are extending this presence into Oracle Cloud and Alibaba, among other initiatives. On the Security Operations Center, we changed the way we operate. Instead of running and protecting everything, we need to map, we need to visualize the entire estate. Only when we know the limits of this estate and who is who, we can protect them effectively. Instead of waiting to get an alert or an incident and treating it, we try to be proactive and we go into hunting. This is something very, very important. On the back to basics, these are things that we have forgotten 5 to 10 years ago. First, we need to harden our collaboration platforms. They are more sophisticated, they are more SaaS approach, and then we need to understand that a big chunk of our environment is already out. On the security and quality, usually I say I drink my own champagne, meaning that I work for a leading cybersecurity vendor, which means that my R&D team is building new security solutions, and I'm the first customer to taste them. So I apologize to my users if there is a problem here and there or a hiccup, but the more security and quality I can test the solutions inside home means that our customers and partners will have a better product. Before we conclude the vision in 2020, we have built a new team. Besides my blue team that is focused on prevention, we have built a new team. It's the red team of 2 professional pen testers, mainly on the application side. They are focusing 50% of the time penetrating our defenses and 50% of our time focusing on giving very, very intimate security services to our customers. Before we conclude, and in Netflix, those that used to travel, we know very well the My Downloads section in Netflix to be able to watch offline. So the speed of change. We all understand the rapid change it called to ourselves, security professionals, to take in Q1 last year. So take an opportunity on that. Constant movement. If we CISOs are not moving all the time, talking with the business leader, making sure that we are enablers, it's a game over for us. It's too late, and we are losing the battle. And to conclude, prevention. Although I love Sam the firefighter, guys, we do not need to wait to have a fire drill or a fire incident. We need to make sure that we prevent these fires or we prevent incidents. So if we know there is a problem, we need to see how to address it and have a solution and embrace creativity on resolving it, because we all understand the challenges on manpower and budget. As I have said in the beginning of the pandemic, CISOs need to embrace the rapid change into security opportunity. Although I am not traveling in the last year and so, I would love to be able to meet all of us next year. Hopefully the pandemic will be over and we all keep safe and secure. If you enjoy, join me to the bench. Be safe and secure. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, so Jonathan, like always, I know you already for many, many years. To listen to your presentation is always amazing and exciting. And we have also to challenge you some questions from the audience. So let me read you some of the questions. The first one is, what were our, from your perspective, what do you see the major IT security challenges for 2021, especially focused during the COVID-19 period, which is still going on?
So, first of all, thank you, Arko, for the compliment, and it's great to be here, although it's virtually. I will just go directly to the question. During 2020, as I mentioned before my presentation, many of the IT professionals or IT security practitioners, we have done a lot of drastic modifications, and now is the time to revise them, because we know that the bad guys are taking advantages of those drastic modifications we did during the last 15, 16 months. This is number one. Number two, IT and security, they go together. Security is here to support the business. So one example, we reduce 30% our space, and we facilitate hoteling environment while we support Checkpoint employees to work hybrid. They can come every day to the office, or they can come once or 2 days a week. They can choose. This is pure flexibility. Now the IT space has to support it. Now this is something very, very important, and this is something that requires planning, design, and implementation. Okay?
Okay. Let's move to the second question. Any outstanding privacy versus cybersecurity challenges? Do they often come one on the expense of the other? Always there is, I'm adding from my side, always there is debate on privacy versus security, and you as the CISO of a Checkpoint company, I'm sure you are dealing with privacy versus security. Very, very interesting.
So first of all, we need to be professionals of the things we do. We need to do security, but the more security we do and the more information we get, we start seeing maybe things that are intruding our employees, maybe our customer privacy. So we need to be very professional on laws, local legislations. Every continent, every area, they have different mandates that we need to respect. So it's a huge, huge balance. And DPOs as myself and CISOs, in some cases they do it separately, but I ask myself every day if what I'm doing is good enough, or maybe if I'm doing is too strong and I'm evading our employees and customer privacy. So there is not a clear answer, but the daily basis has to have a balance. And I strongly recommend all companies that they put a lot of emphasis on IT services to put someone in charge of GRC, privacy and compliance, to make sure that is the guy asking the questions that usually security SecOps guys do not want to hear, because they want to get all the details and get in order to do forensics and etc. So there is a way to do it, but we need to ask the questions while we are doing those things. So the answer is yes.
Okay. There is a question specifically to Checkpoint products related to the latest supply chain attack that we're seeing over the last few months. Did Checkpoint did any changes in their products?
So, well, the answer is yes. First of all, we launched a new solution. We call it Shift Left. We used to call it SourceGuard. And basically, it's a solution. It's a SaaS solution that will allow every development entity to check that third parties are okay. For instance, that secrets or let's say clear text secrets and keys are not going into the code. Things that will ensure the professional that is in charge of the SDLC, software development lifecycle, to make sure that this journey is done as securely as possible. So the answer is yes, and we are still implementing few improvements on our safe checks. As you can imagine, we have more than a dozen security checks on our code. Now, few of them, of course, have to be refined and improved a little bit, because we learned after Sunburst that there were new implementations, new techniques being revealed. So the answer is yes and yes.
Thank you. We have another question for you. Looking into the new hybrid mode that companies is currently working during this period, what will be your recommendation for the IT teams to do modification to support the new cyber attacks for this hybrid mode?
So it's a great question. I would divide the answer into awareness, pushing awareness into our employees. And let's keep in mind that most of our employees are most of the time or part of the time working from home. So now the office is extended at home. And I will ask you, Yaakov, maybe you are a security professional, but do you think that the security, the Wi-Fi that we have at home has the same settings as we have in the Wi-Fi in the office? 98% of the time, no. Okay, do we give the password of the Wi-Fi to guests coming to our home? Yes, we do, and to our families and cousins and etc. And this is something that we don't do at work. We have a guest access Wi-Fi and etc. and etc. We need to protect these users and their laptops or BYOD environments. We need to give them confidence. They need to feel secure on one side, and we need to educate them how to do it. This is on one side. On the other side, we the perimeter is gone, meaning that we have many gateways and we have surveillance and we have a lot of tools in the office. But what do we have at the homes of our employees? We have very little. We have endpoint security and the tools that we give to our employees on their endpoints. So we need to see how to reinforce that through SaaS security and making sure that we implement MFA, we implement what we call SSO when it's possible, and we make sure that we are escorting our users into this user journey at home, because remember what I said in the beginning, all this change has done in a very hasty manner, and when things are done rapidly, mistakes are done or gaps are open, and we know for sure that adversaries are taking advantages of that.
Oh, very interesting to hear this coming from you, Jonathan, because explaining the importance of every individual employees in the organization, that he is also responsible for the entire firm's security. You need to be aware of malicious emails coming to his place. You need to be very clearly about the stuff that we are doing in his daily activity, to make sure he will not do the mistake which will enable the attacker to penetrate the organization. With that stuff, and I love your background, so I want to say thank you very much to you, Jonathan. We will be in touch continuing. And now we switch to the next session with the supercharging cybersecurity activity, where a representative will do show of the most innovative and significant initiative attempting cybersecurity attack. For that, I would like to call to the stage Roy Yaron from the INCD to present and take the lead on this session. So, Roy, the stage is for you. Thank you, Jonathan.